West Wing Week.
Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the President held a town hall at the University of Maryland, met with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, honored the World Series champions, spoke to Hispanic community advocates, and addressed the nation on the importance of compromising on a balanced approach to reduce the deficit. That's July 22nd to the 28th, or mutual disposition.
America, after all, has always been a grand experiment in compromise. We have tried to live by the words that Jefferson once wrote. Every man cannot have his way in all things. Without this mutual disposition, we are disjointed individuals, but not a society.
On Friday, July 22nd, the President traveled to Ritchie Coliseum Arena at the University of Maryland to participate in a town hall meeting. He spoke about reducing the deficit and meeting our obligations, and took questions from the audience, engaging the crowd for more than an hour.
You inspire me. I am absolutely convinced that your generation will help us solve these problems. And I don't want you to ever get discouraged, because we're going to get through these tough times just like we have before. And America is going to be stronger, and it's going to be more prosperous, and it's going to be more unified than ever before, thanks to you.
Later, Prime Minister John Key of New Zealand arrived at the White House for a meeting with the President in the Oval Office. The two leaders discussed the close friendship and partnership between our two countries, and our cooperation in addressing challenges like Afghanistan and the famine in East Africa. At the end of the day, the President held a news conference to discuss the House Republican leaders' decision to walk away, once again, from talks to reach a compromise plan to reduce the deficit.
I think I've been consistently saying here in this press room and everywhere that it is very important for us to raise the debt ceiling. We don't have an option on that. I mean, the American people are just desperate for folks who are willing to put aside politics just for a minute and try to get some stuff done.
On Saturday, July 23rd, the President again convened a meeting of the bipartisan leadership of Congress to continue negotiations on debt and deficit reduction. On Monday, July 25th, the National Council of La Raza invited the President to address over 1,500 Hispanic leaders at their annual conference, only the third time a sitting president has done so.
We need your voice. Your country needs you. Our American family will only be as strong as our growing Latino community.
Later, the President welcomed the San Francisco Giants to the White House to congratulate them on their World Series win, along with a special guest, the Say Hey Kid Hall of Famer Willie Mays. That night, the President addressed the nation from the East Room on the stalemate in Washington, D.C., about the best approach to cutting deficits and ensuring America doesn't default for the first time in our history.
The American people may have voted for divided government, but they didn't vote for a dysfunctional government. So I'm asking you all to make your voice heard. If you want a balanced approach to reducing the deficit, let your member of Congress know. If you believe we can solve this problem through compromise, send that message. America, after all, has always been a grand experiment in compromise.
On Tuesday, July 26th, the President started the day with wounded warriors on the White House basketball court, where he watched these heroes shoot around with some NBA players and play a full-court basketball game. The President then welcomed members of the American Legion Boys Nation to the White House. Later, he welcomed the Girls Nation. Also on Tuesday, the President and Vice President visited the Norwegian ambassador's residence in Washington, D.C. to offer their condolences on last week's tragic events in Oslo and Utøya Island. They shared their condolences in a book to the people of Norway and delivered letters on behalf of the First Lady and Dr. Biden. On Wednesday and Thursday, the President worked throughout the day on a balanced approach to raising the debt ceiling, while White House economists engaged in a lively discussion with the public on Twitter, answering your questions in 140 characters or less during office hours, a new interactive feature of the White House online program. The White House also introduced a detailed illustration of the national debt that details how the debt was accumulated and why we need to take serious steps and a balanced approach to getting it under control. To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
He thought the vice president was the pilot of Air Force One.
That's a good thing to think. I like that.
He was like, he
man.
drives Air Force
I like
One.
that. That's a good thing. I'm glad you think I was a pilot.
And then he just likes you for you. He doesn't care if you're a pilot.
Even if I'm not a pilot. Even if I'm not. Well, good to see you guys.